Welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, I'm happy to have you. So my previous subscribers, welcome back to the channel. So for today's video in particular, we're going to be talking about and discussing what is going on in Portland. As you guys all know, Portland, Oregon now, by Donald Trump has stated that he's going to send the U.S. military to Portland. But more specifically, the key note here is that he's said to use any force necessary against the citizens and the people of Oregon, and specifically more likely Portland. We're going to take a look at that in today's video. Keep in mind this video is just for entertainment, for educational purposes only as well. And if you want to help out the channel, bro, you can do so by liking, commenting, subscribing, and the bell icon. Share this video where others really help boost the algorithm here on this YouTube channel. This video will be being recorded on Sunday, September 28th at 11:57 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as of when I'm recording this specific video. It's going to be posted as soon as possible because for a lot of you guys who are on the West Coast, you're worried, you want to know what's going to happen specifically on the West Coast, especially the fact that he said and gave full permission for the military to harm Americans. It's very important and very imperative that I upload this video as soon as possible. Anyway, if you want to watch any of my other videos in terms of other content, such as like Chicago, DC, the military video, National Guards, ICE, all those videos will be in the description and also in the comment section below of today's video if you want to go ahead and watch it. Alright, let's go ahead, let's begin, let's find out what is going on. Again, this video is just for entertainment, for educational purposes only as well. And if you want to be notified and stay in the loop when I do post and upload, go into the comment section below or the description, follow my Blue Sky account or my Facebook group to be notified when I do post and upload next. Alright, so, Spiritual Angels, tell me, what is going on with Portland right now? What is going on with Portland? We're just going to look at the environment of Portland right now. Okay, so, what's going on in Portland? Okay, so they're telling me these two cards represent Portland. What are the two cards that best represent Donald Trump, the President of the United States? Okay. And what is the card that best represents the United States, the military, being authorized to use full force against the citizens of the United States? What is that going to look like? Okay. Optics. Optics are here, so there's something here that they're considering. They're weighing very heavily. Now, if you haven't watched my military meeting video, secret meeting video, go ahead and watch it because it's important because it shows up in this reading. Ooh, a challenge came up for Portland, and it's directly related to Trump. So it linked Trump and Portland directly. Okay, so we have Portland, Trump, the military. Outcome. Show me outcome. I'm hearing the word now. Okay, so I guess they want us to read the environment first. So let's read the environment, then we can go deeper. The cards that best represent Portland is the Seven of Swords, followed by the Nine of Swords. So Portland is going to have their freedom stolen from them. That's what's going on in Portland. That's not like a psychic prediction. That's just reality, right? Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. We have here, what's the card that represents Donald Trump? It's the Queen of Cups. Containment, control, keeping a very close eye on. This is something that, what do I say? This invigorates him. This gives him power and influence because of how Portland was during his first term. This one is personal to him. We have here as well as we have the Ten of Cups. He sees this as a great victory. He sees this as a form of punishment. You see how he's celebrating? This is going to set the stage. Portland is going to set the stage for the nationwide, for nation. Okay? I said what happened in Chicago was going to dictate what was going to happen for the rest of the nation. And so Portland is going to be the next one up, and it's going to set the stage for the nation. So this is Donald Trump. This is where Donald Trump is. He's giddy about this. This is personal. This is, when I read the energy of these two cards, I feel very lifted. I feel very light. That tells me that this one really strikes hard to the home core. It strikes. He wants to strike. He wants to cause harm. He wants to cause pain. He feels very invigorated by this. He feels powerful. He feels energetic. Don't let him take your energy. Again, this video is just for entertainment and educational purposes only as well. I'm also seeing power line cut for some reason on the West Coast. I think there's a limit of access to information after their arrival. The military. This card normally indicates an assassination or the attempt to control. This is reverse. This is the hangman reverse. This tells that there's illumination. The military, the soldier, is going there on order. Right? They're going there abiding and obeying the order. We do have here, though, eventually these military personnel are going to be in a very tight spot. The three of wands. The three of wands optics. I'm also getting, do we use our force? Do we use the will of the military against the citizens? Right, that is the optics here. And what I've been getting as I'm reading this card is that the only way for Donald Trump to succeed in full force use of the military against the Americans, he has to make sure he infiltrates the United States military with loyalists. And that is exactly what the secret meeting is all about. That is what came up in the card, and this is further amplifying that energy. But that's the general. What about the soldiers? Vetted. They need to be able to vet. And the fact that this is being contemplated, that military personnel are contemplating about the strength of the military being used against the citizen, tells me that there is a form of resistance within inside the military at the moment. But if Trump senses that, he will eliminate the opposition before it has a chance to really take hold, to really throw him out. Right? He's going to squander it. As long as they can do what they were ordered to do and stay behind the scenes and, do Morse code or whatever with others to alert them that, oh, there is a resistance, we're just not telling you that we're part of the resistance, then they can thrive. The question is it obvious? Or is it not obvious? Because the link is between Portland and Donald Trump, because Trump is very giddy while Portland is very upset. We have the two of, what's it called? Two swords here, right? And then here you have two cups. What does it tell us? It tells us that Trump is very giddy about this, whereas Portland is hurting, and his freedom is going to be taken away. We have here the page of swords. What is the connection between Portland and Trump? It is a direct connection to the sword. The sword is punishment, it's bravery, it's the resistance, the fact that they were part of that resistance back in 2021, and 2021, and also 2020, right, when they resisted the Trump presidency with the Black Lives Matter protests and all those things. This is payback to Portland. But also, keep in mind as well, Portland is going to be resistant to Donald Trump, and that's exactly what Trump wants. Trump wants and picked Portland specifically because they are going to use the playbook the Nazis used, where they incite violence and then use those videos or clips of people fighting and having violence with one another to justify the militarization across the entirety of the United States. So what is happening in Portland? They're going to try to incite violence by the American people by forcing them into it, to bait them into it, and then use footage of it to justify reasoning. That's what this is. That's the connection between Trump and Portland. Because Portland's been very resistant, so it makes it the perfect keynote point here. The whole thing could have been delayed if Trump military went into Chicago. It would have been delayed. This process would have been delayed. But because Chicago was very resistant, and Oregon or Portland isn't as strong as Chicago is in terms of its resistance at the moment, Trump is going to send them in. The question is that we ask ourselves is, how strong is Portland in preventing them from taking over? Because once they're here, they're done. You're done. That's really it. It's done. So we have here on the top of the deck here, we have the Queen of Wands reverse. We have resistance in reverse, spirituality in reverse. The fact that you can break it, you can't. This is saying you have to break it now before they come. The Queen of Wands I'm also getting as well is, because it's 556 on my alarm clock right now, which is surrounded by crystals, so like the time is really off. But anyway, the fact that when I was saying all this, I heard that when they come, it triggers something within the seismic underground, the Cascadian fault line, which tells me things start to move at a very rapid pace. All that energy, all that burst of energy is going to start to really grind up the San Andreas fault line, the Cascadian fault line, and eventually Portland will experience some sort of shaking. Whether that means metaphorically, whether that means nationally, but that'd be the only way that nature is going to help the people. Because I said many times before, nature is going to play a major role in the downfall of Donald Trump, but also is going to play a major role in part of the resistance because the people cannot speak, and the Republican administration is doing whatever it can to damage the Earth. Earth is going to be part of that resistance. So definitely expect when Portland comes in, it's going to start to trigger national disaster, massive events later on down the line. So this is the first thing. This is going to be the starting point. Doesn't mean the military is there forever, but Portland is going to be the starting point for a lot of things going forward. Not only nationwide, but also for what's happening in the global sphere of things. The bottom of the deck here, though, we have the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups means outpouring support. So even though a lot of people are going to feel very restricted, very a lack of free, or having any sort of experience or any sort of freedom, the Ace of Cups saying that you're not going to be you're not going to be under martial law forever. You are going to be part of that resistance. And this is what the Ace of Cups comes in as. The Ace of Cups gives you the opportunity, tells you you will be free. This is not forever. And Earth is on your side. Gaia is on your side. She's going to fight alongside you. So when you see national disaster coming in, it's not necessarily a punishment for you. It's a punishment for the administration in which it occurs in. So, okay, so now that we covered Portland and the environment, let's take a look and see. Let's put in the military up against Portland. Let's find out what's happening. Spirit Angel, tell me about the environment and what's going to happen between Portland, Oregon, the United States, versus the United States military when the military gets deployed into Portland. What's happening? This is assuming the military gets into Portland. To keep that in mind, that's how I framed the question. Doesn't mean they will. It just means if they do, what's the energy, what's the environment? Better days ahead on the bottom. The top deck here, we have the Knight of Pentacles, a proposal, an offer. Okay. There's an offer here. So the military coming in with a message to the people. This is the message, by the way. I'm hearing the word submit or resist. You have two choices. You can either submit or you can resist. That's the message of the military. Spirit Angel, tell me about Portland, Oregon versus the United States military when they enter into the U.S. city. There's a card that flipped. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, so we have this card here. Queen of Wands. Normally people do like books, so something with writing here, communication. It's going to be playing a major key in transferring information to people. I feel like there's going to be underhanded form of communication, like almost like Morse code between people, because they can't use technology or something being restricted, so people resort to in the city to use other forms of communication. Tell me more about the military in Portland when they enter in. National security. It's a coup. Yeah, it's a coup. Okay, that's what it is. Okay, we have here hope, the resistance. The hope is, will people stand up? Like the Occupy, will they allow the occupation to occur? Or are they just hoping that someone else will stand up and not have to do the work? The top of the deck here is we have the Wheel of Fortune goes backwards. The Democrats are not going to be able to help you. The cards are not on their side. They're playing cards, they're playing veto, but they're not able to do anything. The Republicans control the money, they control the outcome. But really, even though the Republicans are on top, who's the one really controlling everything? The one with real money, right? That's the illusion, that's the appearance. It goes further than that. This is deeper than this, right? So the Hierophant, which is the government, right? It's the institution. We're talking about Portland versus the United States military, right? The troops. The Hierophant represents a form of government in Portland, right? The form of Portland. I have a feeling that whoever is mayor of Portland is going to undergo some issues here. This is the Queen of Wands. I feel like they're going to be forced to resign, or there's going to be some sort of forcing of them to relinquish some form of power. I don't know what kind of power this mayor has in Portland, but there's a relinquishing. There is this threat, there is this overshadowing of the mayor in Portland. We have the Queen of Cups, which means containment and options, which is the Seven of Pentacles. Right? Containment and options, limited options. What is limited? The Queen of Swords, Tulsi Gabbard. Why Tulsi Gabbard comes in here? Tulsi Gabbard represents somebody who is treacherous, someone who is a traitor to the nation. She is represented here as the Queen of Swords. Now, normally the Queen of Swords in my Rider-Waite Tarot deck indicates the rule of law. But the Queen of Swords in this deck represents a disobeying of the rule of law, disloyalty to the nation. So what does this mean here? Weighing options, limited options, and the Queen of Cups. The Queen of Cups is containment, to control. Remember how I talked about earlier in the video where it just felt like there is a very tight, narrow window and very narrow path for a lot of soldiers and military personnel to really walk down a very narrow line on what side and whose side they're on. That is what this card comes down on. If they go up against the American people, they are a traitor to the nation. They are a traitor to the American people. They are a traitor to the oath. But if they go up against the administration, they are also considered a traitor in the moment. So what matters more, being considered a traitor in the long term or being considered a traitor in the moment? That's something that's going to be on the mind of a lot of military members. In regards to the Nine of Pentacles here, we have options, we have money, we have pensions. Why is this important here? The card of the Nine of Pentacles here is telling me that a lot of people, a lot of military personnel are going to be brought out of being influenced by money. Money is going to influence a lot of these decision making going forward. I do feel like they're going to be offered a stipend, or if you do this and if you kill this person, don't worry, you're going to get money for it. I always feel like they're justifying action by influencing them with money. They say, oh, no, listen. You know, we have all these soldiers here, and all of them are on the same page as you. If they kill somebody, they're going to take the money and they'll walk away with it. Because it's okay, it's legal. We gave you the opportunity, so it's okay. Is it morally right? No. But because other people like you are doing it, you feel more comfortable doing it too. We have the Knives of Swords here. The Knives of Swords is disloyalty to the nation. Right? Disloyalty to the nation. There are those who are contemplating what to do to the military, and there are those who are traitor to the nation. Now, I want you to keep in mind as well that I'm getting two things here. I'm in my right ear, I'm hearing the word Antifa. So Antifa is going to somehow come into play here in Portland. The reason why Antifa is going to come into play is they've been hammering on the news about Antifa being a terrorist organization in the United States. They need a form of justification, because remember earlier we talked about how they're going to try to use the Portland people, the Portlanders, as a form of justification for what's going to happen nationwide, demilitarization nationwide. Right? They're going to try to incite something, but Antifa just simply means anti-fascist. Right? No nation in the world announces that they're fascist. But they do get rid of opposition in any form of communication that indicates and talks about Antifa. Right? We have here underneath this Nine of Pentacles here, we have is the Nine of Cups. And the reason why I mention traitors to the nation, because remember, there are going to be a couple different forms of traitors. There are going to be traitors who are a traitor to the nation in the eyes of the U.S. government. And there are also going to be those who are traitors in the eyes of the U.S. government in terms of protecting the people. But there are also going to be another form of traitors as well, which are going to betray the oath of office. Those are the traitors. I feel like I'm confusing everybody. So let me take a step back here. The way I'm going to explain it is there's going to be two different forms of traitors. There'll be one who betrays the U.S. government, the institution of government, and there are going to be those who are traitors to the American people. A lot more simpler. Going back into the reading. The reason why I also mention that as well is that the American people are also going to be considered traitors as well, because they're also going to be very resistant. But then there are also those factions of Americans as well who are going to be on the side of the authoritarian government. So keep that in mind. Just be careful who you speak to, because not everybody's on the same page. We have the Nine of Cups reversed. I feel like there's a restriction of supplies coming into Portland. This is a real punishment here. There's a restriction of supplies. But there is a foundation here being built. A Nine of Wands here. This is the foundation. I wonder if they're here to stay. This is the foundation. There's something that's being built upon. Because here you have the Taurus card. And in the past reading, we have bold. In Trump reading, we had two bulls in the background. And there was like this hot coffee or hot like whatever bean that was being cooked over the fire. And there was two bulls in the background. He was speaking. He was cooking up something to the military in private. And it kept saying the setup. And it kept talking about Portland being the setup for nationwide, using the military as a form for nationwide control. And the Nine of Wands here is saying construction of something, right? And here is the Taurus card comes in reverse because this is going to be the spill, the black spill over the nation. The nation could be spilled in oil, right? What is oil? Oil is flammable. But if you cover it thick enough, people can't see their own anger. That's what he's hoping for. We have here as well is the interaction between Portland and the military. We have the World card in reverse. The World card in reverse means upside down, right? The world of Portland is upside down. It's not how it's supposed to be. This is not what was promised. This is not what they agreed upon, but yet they're being punished for it. And here's the Ace of Wands, of transfer of power. So it does feel like, they're going to try to seize control of the government in Portland. It does feel something like that, something along those lines, because this is a coup. Because here you have is prudence, national security. This is Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard's run national security. She comes in as a traitor, right? Followed by the Five of Wands here, which means military personnel. This is my coup card. It's all about control. And here you have his money, bills being piled up. And here it is, him just golfing while all this is going down. Because this is, again, a ploy. This is a story. This is something that they planned. Again, this is what happens if the military gets inside of Portland, right? We're going to talk about what if they don't. What if they don't? And then we'll act the card what's the likeliest outcome. And I also want to know, will they use full force against the American people? Actually, I want to ask that first because that's important. Will the military, when they get deployed to Portland, Oregon, will the military use full force against the Americans? Will they use full force to control the American people in Portland, Oregon? Any sort of control card come forward, if that is true. We have here Capricorn. War. This is control, military. Capricorn. Yeah. They will use full force on these American people in Portland. The bottom of the deck, as we have here, we have the 8 of coins reversed. You see America's not dead yet. But you see Tulsi Gabbard's here. The photo that came up earlier. Yeah, here you look at a guy with 2 twin towers in the background, taking the oath of office, and also the horns. Right? Taurus. Everything I just mentioned. What is on the top of the deck? Pollution. We're asking, are they going to try to control Portland and use full force against the American people in Portland? Looks likely. What tells me the military is probably there, which means that looks like as of now, as I'm still reading, it looks like the military interaction in Portland is going to be more active than if they didn't get there. Okay, so Spiritual Angels tell me what happened if the military retract or Donald Trump retract the military from being deployed in Portland, Oregon. What is the story there? Is there even any story there? We have the Wheel of Fortune going backwards again. Something's going backward, but in this case, the Wheel of Fortune, for me, when the Wheel of Fortune's in the Rider-Waite Tarot deck, it means going forward. Here you have is the 4 of Wands reversed, which means upheaval upside down. And here you have is the 4 of Pentacles reversed. I don't think Oregon's going to be able to hold on, at least specifically Portland. We have the 8 of Wands. Upright things are going to get uprooted. And here's the Queen of Wands. Why is this important? This is telling me here that no matter what the outcome is, even if Portland, Oregon gets rid of or delays the intrusion of the troops in Portland, Oregon, it's going to make a comeback. And here's why. I'm getting, there's going to be a false operative to try to force a reason the military to be forced into Oregon. So if Oregon and Portland specifically refuse to allow the military into the city, there will be something that's going to happen that's going to force the military in anyway. I don't see an outcome here where there isn't. I don't see Chicago, like what happened in Chicago. I do see it's going to be forced in anyway, whether the people accept it or not. That's actually really bad. Again, there's nothing to worry about. Just be careful, my friends. For entertainment and educational purposes only as well. Okay, if that's the case, then we kind of already answered the question. They're going to use full force. If, just say for example, I want to ask this. If the United States military is using force against the American people in Portland, Oregon, will that cause massive uprising across the United States? They're going to try, but it's going to fail. Here's why. We have the 8 of Pentacles. This is exactly the playbook Trump wants. Trump wants instability with the nation because it gives him the ability to declare law, martial law. But there is a different form of martial law. It's not exactly martial law. It's something a little different. What's the other one? Where he retains power, he retains control, because martial law allows the military to take over. And that means Donald Trump has to relinquish his power. There's another formation where the military is being used by the president, but the president doesn't have to. Oh, there it is. It just hit me. Suspension of habeas corpus, which I'll put in the description below, along with the military as well. But this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of Pentacles reversed. We're asking about whether they're going to resist against the president. We do have here in some cities they are, some cities are not. The reason why I know that is because the Magician card comes in. This is somebody who's holding up a sign, the form of resistance, right? Followed by the 3 of Pentacles. The 3 of Pentacles means empty promises. it feels like there is no barrier, there is no protection for you anymore. There is a lack of protection. You can fight, but you have to be willing to accept that death also could follow. So we have here, as well as we have the 8 of, well, hold on, I think it's the 9 of wands. 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. The 9 of wands here, it's going to be quite a battle. It's going to be quite a battle. And if the nation rebelled, they might have a possible chance to remove the oppressor. But it comes with a baggage. It comes with death. That's the baggage. What will Americans choose? So I asked my cards the question: will Donald Trump suspend habeas corpus? We have the 9 of wands. There was a possibility in the past. It was only used lightly. There's no really historical precedent for it except during the Civil War. The top of the deck here, we have the 5 of Pentacles, walking away. Not walking away, entertaining the idea. Entertaining the idea, and this is the 9 of Cups here. This means achievement. This is looking at the bigger picture. It's very possible Donald Trump could suspend habeas corpus. And here you have with the three of swords, 3 of swords on the bottom, which means betrayal of the American people. Betrayal of the American people. Now, if you guys don't know what suspension of habeas corpus will do to the United States, I'm going to tell you right now. Suspension of habeas corpus. Okay, so the suspension of habeas corpus allows the government to imprison people without access to a court to determine if their detention is lawful. The United States Constitution permits this only in cases of rebellion or invasion, when public safety requires it. It is not currently suspended in the United States. So, it's in exact alignment with what I said. It looks like, if anything, that would be the path to go with. Because in the other video that I did before, which is the secret military meeting video, it talked about how Donald Trump wanted to imprison people, and Stephen Miller was there actively engaging with that behavior. Let me use my homemade tarot deck. I don't see martial law being declared, but I do see the possibility of the other one, which is the suspension of habeas corpus. Spirit angels tell me, is Donald Trump doing a coup in cities by invading it with the United States military to force the American people under one rule? Is this martial law in a new form? This martial law in a new form, Spirit. What's going on here? What's going on in Portland, Oregon, in the United States, with military being deployed all across the United States? Okay, so we have the pandemic, but we also have the pandemic. Behind here, we have Donald Trump. Anything else you'd like to add to the story? With the United States and the military being used against the United States? Okay. We have military coup with Hitler. It's reverse. We have the election. So he's going to deploy the military, trying to do this before the midterms to make sure a certain outcome is desired. Specifically, I'm hearing he wants to amend the Constitution, and he can only do that with a certain margin. He needs a a filibuster-proof margin, and he needs to be able to dominate cities in order to force them to have Republican governors, or better yet, what to call it? It needs to also have not only Republican governors, but it also needs to have any Democrat, any Republican, any third-party candidate that is on the side of the Republican ideology to win. And by doing so, they can amend the Constitution. Because not only do they need 3/4 of the House, 3/4 of the United States Senate, but also 3/4 of the governors or the states in order to pass amendment or to rebel or to revise the amendment. And by doing so is by influencing the outcome of the midterms. We have here address the nation speech, designated survivor State of the Union. So again, it's a State of the Union. It's going to be a very fiery speech that he's going to give, right? I have a feeling I'm seeing him like giving a speech and he's just screaming into the TV. But his screaming is angry. His anger. It almost feels like he's no longer a leader, he's now military. He feels like he embodies military, but I've seen like Darth Vader, but like one of those like Empire Rises thing with like the mutilated face or whatever. That's what it feels like when they give that very hateful authoritarian style speech. We have here as well as we have this election card reversed because we have the food industry, quality of life and length of life, animal abuse, in this instance is human abuse, and it's food industry. There's the restriction of food, a restriction. So they're going to force people to bend to the country by depriving them of food or necessities to survive. Here on the card that challenges the Nine of Cups, we have hateful ideology. This is what's coming in the future, hateful ideology. We already have it, but it's coming more into focus. White supremacy, neo-Nazi, Proud Boys, hateful ideology. Right, pro-slavery. That's coming here. That's the big picture. That's what they're doing. We have here the winner unknown. Winner unknown. We have a Democratic president. Or at least we should have, but we don't have one. Instead, we have a Republican instead. But the Democrat was actually supposed to be the one in charge. We have here the Republicans hold Congress. Remember, this is all about the midterms now. And they're using Portland as a designated hotspot for what's coming in the nation. Here's the Republican hold. And here we have the electoral college margin. This is the margin that we have now. 313. Donald Trump had 312. The House margin right now is almost identical to 215 to 222 seats. And the Senate is actually very close to 54 to 46 Senate. Very close in margin. This is our reality here. But it's saying here that the Republicans would have held on to the Congress if the Democrat was alive, if the Democrat was to win, or was declared the actual winner, which it is, but they're hoping for it's for this information to be squandered, for this information to remain under the radar. Because the top of the deck here, we have monopoly. They want control. They want to make sure that they are always the one in power. And here on the top of the deck here, we have young adult voters between 30 to 44, millennials and Gen X also helped propel Donald Trump to victory. And they will also do it again. And they're going to make it difficult and force this age group, millennials and Gen X, into subduing themselves with necessities, forcing necessities, and depriving them of that to force them into alignment, to subdue them into agreement. The Stockholm Syndrome, essentially, is what I'm saying. So, that's where we're heading at the moment. Yeah. This is, again, the suspension of Habeas Corpus. Great time for living in, great time. This video is just for entertainment, for educational purposes only as well. Alright guys, thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the bell icon. I'll see you guys in the next video. Let me know in the comment section below what you guys think. Be very careful with your wording, how you're describing certain things, because you will be blacklisted by YouTube, so just keep that in mind as well. This is not the outcome that we wanted. Certainly, definitely not, but it seems to be that's where we're heading. Alright, guys. Thank you. I love you, and I'll see you guys soon.